Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you game number 3 of a show match that I sponsored between ssinz, the up-and-coming Protoss Pro gamer, and Scan. All right, so tied up 1-1 so far. Both of the first games were Reaver into Carrier from ssinz. Game 1 on Polypoid, Scan was able to parry very well. Game 2 was actually a failed Nexus bust from Scan. I think a really brilliant pylon and shield battery wall from ssinz really kind of helped to seal the deal there. So congrats to him. That was very well done. And yeah, we'll see how game number 3 goes. It's on Eclipse, as you can see, right? 2-player map where generally Protoss aggression really pays off. You can offensive gas, you can go forward gateways, you can do all manner of things. You really kind of dictate the flow of the game as Protoss. Now, that being said, we don't see a probe being sent out. Normally, a probe would have been sent out by now, and he's just not doing it. So it looks like ssinz wants to do a more standard opener, which can be almost kind of meta on Eclipse because everyone is so used to getting their gas stolen. A lot of Terrans don't even open normally here. In fact, I have to be honest with you, I scratch my head if I can ever take my gas. I'm like, wait, do I play it normally? Like, what? That's bizarre. Like, how do I play this map normally? It's like, well, dummy, you play it normally. But yeah, it is it is something else. Now, ssinz is going for a Nexus first. And I think it's a fine choice. Nexus first, and notice how Scan is not taking his gas, by the way. This is what I'm talking about, where people are so used to being cheese that they just play the map differently. So without taking his gas, the potential to punish this goes way down because you don't have vultures coming to help. Like, you can pump Marines nonstop, and if you have top-of-the-world micro, which Scan does, it is sometimes possible to bust this. But you can't count on it like you can with Vulture. Like, as soon as you add 2 Vultures in, it just gets busted, right? Like, they're not going to hold. So, I mean, as long as you have good micro. It doesn't even have to be top of the world. So, yeah, I'm throwing that out there, that this is why a build like this can be very meta. Like, to play a normal build on this map, because your opponent is already factoring in the fact that, like, even if you're not offensive gassing them, you might have 2 gateways here. And if they're taking the gas, then suddenly maybe they die. So either way, Scan just goes ahead and throws down a command center. The Nexus is almost done, so that's a pretty decent advantage for ssinz, but it's not end of the world. It's not end of the world for Scan, who, by the way, is sending a Marine up. Now, this is a 1 gateway as well. So ssinz is being pretty darn greedy with this. He's, like, not even scouting. And so his economy is just getting as big as it can really get, and he's going to jump up in that probe count. And we'll see what Scan can do to kind of counter that. But certainly I would look at this and say that this is advantage to ssinz. But again, it's like, if it looks like this and it's factory expand, well, in that case you would have attacked them, right? So I guess you can't really consider it like that. But yeah, I think ssinz should be happy with his position coming down, scouting what's going on. It's like, yeah, you still have to make Marines, you still have to make a bunker. The Zealot is a bit too strong. And, of course, the first Dragoons will be out well in advance. Like, look, a Dragoon on the way. We don't have the factory started quite yet. Here we go. First one will get started now. And, yeah, from here, where does it end up going? Well, Scan has the choice of either throwing down an armory rather quickly or throwing down additional factories. Now, since it's a gasless expand, generally you get the second factory no matter what. Because, it's just like... Otherwise, you're going to have so much money in the bank, it doesn't even make sense. So if you go armory here, it's 2 factory armory, but he does have the option to go 4 factory if he wants to try to attack ssinz, who, by the way, is throwing down a Robo. So he's getting Robo before range. So very likely that we're going to see Quick Reaver from him once again, which is an incredibly strong strategy on the map. Wow, just runs right past. Okay. That is a hell of a lot of damage put on that Zealot. SCV tries to stop him. Kind of come up, see exactly what you would expect. 2 factory. But I guess the armory choice hasn't occurred yet. And yeah, this is just going to get picked off very, very quickly. Doesn't even need to chase with the SCVs. The Marine can actually do that alone. And yeah, so now Eclipse, this is the part where it gets a little bit tricky. Because Scan can go into additional factories. to try to pressure ssinz. But generally, it doesn't work out well. If they go Reaver... Oh, this might be Obs 3 gate, actually. Yeah, Observer plus 2 more gates. So very unit heavy. And 4 gates, in fact. So this specifically is to shut down any pressure builds. And this is like... he saw 2 factories, but that doesn't actually tell you. If you go Armory here as scan, you actually... That's a good play against what you're going up against here from ssinz. But if you try to make a bunch of siege tanks and marines and go attack across the map, ssinz is going to have a big enough army to stomp that, and then ssinz is going to be so far ahead, it's going to be insane. So we'll see what Scan wants to do. Another depot. He does have that second gas up. 2 more tanks. These are for factories. 100%. Observer speed right away. Oh my god, that's crazy. Observer speed on 2 base. That is not common at all, but very cool to see. That's going to give him tons of intel. Now, and Probe is coming over here to go ahead and make that that Nexus, rather. Throws a pylon down in the back, getting ready for his wall and everything. SCV tells Scan everything he needs to know. Of course, he knows since the Nexus is not down already, there's going to be a lot of something coming out of his opponent here. Notice how he doesn't bring the rest of the Dragoons down. Oh, well, they all fire, so if Scan was looking, he knows how many Dragoons are out, which should tell him not to attack yet. Honestly, from here, I think as Scan, you really, the best case scenario is to expand yourself and get an armory. Oh, wow. It's going Starport. Why is he going Starport? That's fascinating. Huh. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm not entirely sure what that's going to be all about, but I'm excited. Now, ssinz right now is up 9 workers and a lot of supply. His Dragoon count is pretty decent at the moment. Looks like he has 11 plus that Observer. And you don't want to fight uphill against this. Now, some Vultures look like they want to go around. Observer with speed, of course. Look how nice that Observer with speed is. He's not going to run into any mines. He's going to know exactly what's happening and be able to react very quickly to it. Now, he did see with the edge of that Observer's range all these tanks and marines sitting there. So it's pretty clear that Scan wants to attack. He has this Observer out kind of watching it. There are 4 factories. He's making Wraiths. That's what it is. So the Wraiths are going to be anti-shuttle, I think, although we don't see a shuttle yet. This is just kind of like very straightforward macro from ssinz. He's just making a ton of Dragoons at the moment. Now, look at the supply differential. It's only 10 supply advantage for ssinz, but only he's got like 15 more probes or something. It's kind of crazy. So here we go. Scan coming up now. The Marines actually tanking so much damage for him. Zealot's trying to come in on the flank. Scan turning around to try to deal with that. Uh-oh, his siege tank's getting too close to those Dragoons. The Dragoons coming down, getting on top of the tanks. This is exactly what you want as Protoss, is to reduce the siege tank count. More Dragoons coming. And as you can see, the build that was chosen here from ssinz, a very good counter, as I mentioned, against these 4 factory pressure type plays. Well done. He's made just a metric crap load of Dragoons at this point. Is now getting into that robotic support bay, which I think this, like, he'll probably end up making a Reaver or 2, but I think it's going to be more for speed for Storm drops. That's going to be very, very powerful for him here, using Size Storm, because right now Scan is all about just producing a lot of units. Now, no 3rd command center has even been started. Armory is on the way. Getting his comsats as well. Way behind in workers, unfortunately. And ssinz immediately takes a 4th, which I think is the right call as well. This game is looking so Protoss favored at the moment. And, you know, it's a tough map to play as Terran. There's no doubt. It is considered to be very Protoss favored. But certainly, I think that there was an opportunity for Scan to play better here. Like, I think that going up to the 4 facts, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when his SCV came up and saw the Nexus wasn't started, that means that there's a lot of something. It's either Reaver, it's a lot of gateways, it's Quick Arbiter, it's something, right? And in that case, the 4 factory doesn't become It's like, what are you looking for him to be doing on 2-base that you can kill with your 2-base? And the list is very short there indeed, and a lot of it has to do with mismicroing. So, kind of a tough situation, but, you know, obviously some mistakes made here. Now, Scan going to be active with these vultures. So he's got a couple groups running around, seeing what they can do. He forces a cancel on a cannon. Stuff like that is actually really useful. Runs by, sees just how many Dragoons there are. Very hard to harass. Continuing to mass, though. So it looks like Scan just going to go all in on 2-base, which you can't blame him. You can't blame him. It's not like he can just make like if you make a command center here and sit in a very defensive stance, your opponent just makes another Nexus down here. And that's it. And it's like, okay, well, now it's 5-base against 3, and Protoss is getting all the tech. So, yeah, he is getting ready for another massive attack here. And let's see his tank count. Okay, so right now, he has 8 here, right? And then 2 more come out. So 10 siege tanks is pretty healthy. Let's count the Dragoons. 6. And that's 7, so 13. Oh, my God. Another 8, 21 Dragoons against 10 siege tanks. Then we also have Psystorm and Zalt Legs is about to finish. Plus, it's 8 gateways producing as opposed to 4 factories. So, definitely not a good situation. Now, a speed shuttle flying in with that Reaver. Oh my God, the latest Reaver drop ever. But there's not a lot of defense here. So the Reaver is going to cause some problems. With the Wraith, eventually he will deal with this. But we might get a great Scarab off. Let's see. Oh my God. Oh, that was a lot of SCVs going down. So an okay harass. Looks like a little vulture drop going off in the natural base of ssinz. And it's got to be, well, it's getting worse, basically. 170 supply against 108. 170 supply can attack move generally and kill off this amount, right? He is up 20 workers, so it's not as big an army supply difference, but yeah, it's getting very, very dark here, the outlook for Terran. Third command center gets started. ssinz definitely gearing up for an attack here. Speed shuttle with those high Templars. More Zealots coming down. That's kind of the key here. Definitely needs a lot of those. And, oh no. Yeah, no. You got to be careful about that. If you just lose all your high Templars, it's not going to be good. All right, here we go. ssinz coming in. A gigantic army attacking towards Scan. Dropping out these high Templars for their Psystorms. And just going to obliterate. I think that's going to be it. ssinz going to end up taking down Scan 2-1. In a nice little series. Big thanks to both players for playing this little show match. And guys, thanks for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for watching ArtosisCasts. I really do appreciate it. But that is going to be that. Just way too big an army. And hopefully next time Scan is able to exact some revenge. I almost said exact some avenge. All right, almost works. Almost the same. A little bit wasteful on this final push in, but it does not matter again. The advantage is so clear here for ssinz. The Archon's actually very useful here. They're going to tank a huge amount of damage, kill off SCVs super, super fast. GG!